On tonight's episode of The Real Deal, we will not be critiquing a movie. Instead, we will interview 3 cinema students here at SUNY Oswego about their senior thesis.
These seniors all made short films for their final projects, and we're going to talk to them about their work.
So stay tuned. This is The Real Deal Senior Thesis Showcase.
The first film is called Beef Wellington, which sounds like a pretty strange name for a film. What's even stranger is the film starts off with a guy listening to classical music over the radio. Let's take a sneak peek at this student-made film.
That was an arrangement by Antonio Vivaldi of La Folia, one of the oldest remembered European melodies. You're listening to 89.5 FM, uninterrupted classical music. We're well into our annual membership drive, and we'd like to thank everyone who has contributed so far. We have just 3 more days to reach our goal of $100,000. If you'd like to become a member and allow us to continue bringing you the music
Joining us here in the WTOP studio is the director of Beef Wellington, Ben Greco. Ben, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks.
So, let me guess. Is that Beef Wellington wrapped in that tin foil?
That is, yes, that's correct.
Interesting. So, why Beef Wellington? What's this movie about?
Well, it's really just about, like, confusion and just, like, kind of not having any idea, like, what you're gonna do next, really. And it's basically just follows a guy who just graduated college, and he basically is just really passive and doesn't do anything.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So I have to ask this question. So you hear that score, right? And immediately I think of Yorgos Lanthimos as the favorite.
Right, that's funny you say that because after I saw The Favorite, I went and found out, like, oh, all of this guy's scores, almost 100%, is like pre-existing classical music, and there were scores that I was like certain had been composed originally, and I was like, whoa, this is like Shostakovich or something, and I was like, and he just had a real talent for finding really well-fitting music, so that was the inspiration. I found this piece, which is La Folia by Vivaldi, like it says on the radio, and I just built the whole idea kind of around that one piece of music. I would just listen to it a lot, and then that's how the idea formed.
Wait, so are you saying it's like from the same composer that had the music in The Favorite?
Well, a lot of Vivaldi is in The Favorite, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's not the same music, but yeah, there's a lot of Vivaldi music in
That's
The Favorite.
really cool, man. Yeah.
So do you get your inspiration from a lot of classical composers a lot?
Partially it's because I've found a website that you can get free, like copyright-free recordings of a lot of classical music, and it's like really great, famous music, and you can have it for complete free use. So it's a lot of it's just like using what I have available to me, and then I found it really fits a lot of my style. So
So without spoiling anything, can you take us through like a brief summary of what your film is all about?
It's basically about a guy has graduated, he gets home and he opens up his Beef Wellington, and he the assumption is that he got it at like a grad party or something, and he brought it home and he starts eating it, and it kind of follows him over like 2 days as he finishes the Beef Wellington, realizes, and he's getting evicted from his apartment, and he instead of trying to get a job or anything, he just sits with his Beef Wellington, and he finishes it, and he's like, oh, now what? And instead of doing anything like constructive, he goes out and buys ingredients to make another Beef Wellington, and from there it just kind of goes downhill for him.
I can respect that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It feels almost personal, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in a place of confusion as far as what I think if I had to say what kinds of films I want to make, I'm definitely like up in the air about that right now. So this was probably a reflection of that.
What kind of films do you make?
I like to make really, and this is something I've just started working on, but like I want to make things that are kind of centered around like images. If I want to find like a really compelling image of something, and for me that was like a beef Wellington wrapped in tin foil, and I want to like just kind of build around those types of images and make it more about like those like feelings and stuff and the moods and the tone than a lot of like story aspects.
So it sounds like you like to use symbolism a lot in your projects.
Yeah, but almost like it's not really symbolizing anything. It's just it's just kind of abstract.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You can kind of attach symbols to it, like, and that works. But it's not really like I was just thinking today, like I really don't know like what anything in it means. Like I couldn't tell you. So.
Anything in the recipe or the film?
In the whole film, yeah.
Fascinating. Do you know how to make beef Wellington?
I do now. We had shout out to Hannah Gonzalez who made the beef Wellington, but she's a very good cook, and we were lucky to have her on set to actually do the cooking of the beef Wellington. But I watched the whole process. So.
That's awesome.
Out of curiosity, who would you consider your cinematic inspiration?
Well, I've gone through a lot of different cinematic inspirations, and where I'm at currently is I just started watching Harmony Korine's movies, and those have had a really huge impact on me to the point where like I didn't even like feel good about myself after I watched a few of his movies. I was just like, wow, I thought I like knew something at least, but clearly I don't. And like, it just made me realize I have a lot to learn. So I'm really like his abstract style and how I was talking about like building things around images. I kind of got that from him. That's something he says a lot, and like that's kind of where I'm at with influences right now.
Interesting.
It's always nice to have an existential crisis, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like most college students nowadays, just having an existential crisis, just looking at our beef Wellington, and then it's finished. Now we're like, okay, now what? Okay, now let's get a job. Now what? Now let's get a promotion. Now what? Now let's get married, have a wife and kids. And now what? Die?
Beef Wellington.
Okay, so Ben, this will be quick, but favorite film, least favorite film?
That's tough. Okay, my
Just off the
favorite.
top of your head.
Okay, my favorite film right now currently is Julian Donkey Boy, and it's a Harmony Korine movie, and it's the one that it's the first one I saw and totally like messed me up for like 2 weeks. And then my least favorite film, honestly, like the only films that I consider really bad are the ones that like I feel betrayed me in some way. So for that, the one I've probably complained the most about, I don't have as strong feelings, but I've complained the most about the last Harry Potter movie. It just made me so mad.
You mean Deathly Hallows Part 2 or Crimes of Grindelwald?
Well, those suck too, but Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Oh, wow.
To each their own. So Ben, we have to wrap up, but where can people watch your film?
Currently, it's not posted anywhere publicly right now, but it will be in no more than 2 weeks. It'll be on my YouTube channel, Pigeon Paperbacks. So if you just type in Pigeon Paperbacks, that'll lead right to my channel.
Pigeon Paperback. Sounds good.
You have to type
on the lookout.
it on YouTube, not Google.
Sounds good. We'll be on the lookout. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ben. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thanks.
So coming up after the break, we sit down with another graduating senior who made her film about her recent trip to London. Don't go away.
You don't have to wear a uniform for service or sacrifice. Every day, ordinary Americans perform extraordinary acts of courage and selfless service. Please join us in recognizing citizen heroes who have made a difference in the lives of others through their acts of courage and selfless service in communities across America. Nominate a citizen hero today at themedalofhonor.com.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Here at WTOP, we pride ourselves on delivering you all the news you need to know from the day's events. Whether it's happened on Capitol Hill or right here in Oswego, we make sure you know all about it. We keep you up to date on all your favorite Oswego and professional sports. And our Storm Team 10 meteorologists will make sure that you know exactly what weather you're up against when you start your day.
Every Monday through Thursday night, make sure to tune in to Channel 10.2, because at WTOP, we don't just tell you the news.
We are
the news.
Welcome back to the Real Deal Senior Thesis Showcase. This next film is a documentary about this next student's recent experience studying abroad. See if you can figure out what country she went to in this sneak preview of her film.
I did not think I was going to study abroad. I thought I'd kind of be stuck here for the next 4 years.
And I didn't think it would be possible because I assumed study abroad would be super expensive, you know, and out of reach for me. We got to Heathrow Airport around maybe 7 o'clock in the morning. We did the Sherlock Holmes walking tour, actually on the same day St. Patty's, which was the day that we arrived. But then all of a sudden we realized that since it's St. Patty's Day, the parade was blocking about maybe half of our tour.
We are going to try the most ambitious tour guiding thing ever.
Eventually we're like, you know, we're true New.
Joining us here in the WTOP studio is Natalie Trainor. Natalie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, you went to London, is that correct?
I did, yes.
Over
spring break.
Oh, nice. Why don't you tell us about that?
It was amazing. Ben and I actually got asked to make a documentary for the International Ed Office. So we went over spring break just a week, followed everyone around, focused on Alexis Riviera and Sean Rivituso, and made the documentary.
Oh, so it's for the International Studies Office here, and you're also using it for your senior thesis.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kill two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask you, because, I mean, the way it was shot, it's beautiful, it's edited very crisply. Like, how much experience have you had in those fields before making this documentary?
Basically, I mean, I've been a cinema major since my freshman year, so I've kind of just been learning since then, but that was my first time getting, like, an assignment and going and, like, shooting and editing like that, so.
Okay. It looks really good.
Thank you.
So, what made you decide, I want to study abroad?
I've gone twice now, so I actually went to Norway and Iceland this past May, and then London. I love traveling. I think everyone should do it, and if you have the opportunity, just the experiences you have with people and just getting out of your comfort zone, I think is really important, especially if you're in the creative industry.
So how's the documentary structured? I mean, I've seen documentaries that are structured in a variety of different ways, where some are feature interviews and some don't feature interviews. Some of them actually feature just a voiceover. So can you kind of go through the structure of this documentary?
Yeah, so we were given a very loose structure of what they wanted, and then we kind of just took it and ran with it. We have talking heads of Alexis and Sean, and then we wanted to do kind of like, in a weird way, loosely like Casey Neistat, how he just takes the camera and does cool edits with everything, but also just make it interesting visually to watch, because I know a lot of times I watch documentaries and start to snooze off. So we wanted to make something that was visually pleasing but told a story.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Did you do a lot of the shooting yourself?
Yep, it was myself and Ben, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Now, I have to ask, is documentary filmmaking something you want to pursue in the future, or are you like looking to do more narrative film?
Probably both, honestly.
It's a good way to go, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, narrative is where my path wants to take me, but you know, I turn into Werner Herzog eventually. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nothing wrong with being a documentary filmmaker. I mean, there's a lot of really successful documentary filmmakers out there, like
Morgan Neville
and Ken Burns.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with being a Werner Herzog as long as you don't meet your Klaus Kinski.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't understand what that means.
They hated each other. They always fought on set, and they did not get along very well much of the time.
So you're looking to be a filmmaker out of college? Is that your long-term goal?
Yeah, long term, definitely. First is probably doing some freelance here and there.
Interesting. Have you been looking into how freelancing works, and actually, do you have a plan right after college?
Not yet. I actually am graduating in December, so I'm a first semester senior, so I have a little bit of time to figure it out. But I think I'm moving to the Syracuse area, and from there I'm probably gonna shoot some weddings, stuff like that, just see how it goes.
That's cool. So what were some of the most interesting sights you saw in London?
I really enjoyed the Tower Bridge. We walked across it and like under it and all around it pretty much. It was really awesome. It's just like one of those staple landmark things that you get to do. And then we went on a dinner boat cruise as well, so we got to go under it like through the water, and it was really awesome. Yeah.
Did you meet the Queen of England?
No, I did not.
As you know, the Britain has had its own share of iconic films. Anything Kubrick made, the 007 pictures, Hammer's horror movies. Was the Harry Potter movie studio or whatnot the only movie attraction you saw, or were there others?
There was a few others. We did like a Sherlock Holmes walking tour, so that was, I know there's a few movies and then TV show. So we saw some of where they filmed the TV show, some of where they filmed the movies, and then we went to see the Coronation Street set as well, which is a TV show over there. But other than that, those were like the main movie things, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. So aside from you and Ben, who shot most of it, were there anyone else who accompanied you with this project, aside from the people you interviewed?
Not really, no. Actually, Julia Giulio is the producer, but I directed it as well as Ben, and we both did editing too. So.
Julia Giulio is a cinema professor here at SUNY Oswego, for those who don't know her.
She wrote a movie too.
Yes, she is a screenwriter, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So is your film available online? Where can people see your film?
Just doing a few finishing touches before we hand it in, and then I think we're going to upload it to YouTube, and it should be on the SUNY Oswego website as well eventually.
The SUNY Oswego website, will it be on your personal YouTube page as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we will be on the lookout for that. And this Saturday, May 11th, will be the screening of everyone's senior thesis short films in Park Hall. Actually, it'll be in a bunch of different rooms in Park Hall. So if you want to look for Natalie's film or Ben's film or our next guest's film, it'll be on May 11th in Park Hall here at SUNY Oswego. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Natalie. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
After the break, we sit down with a senior who made a film that made me rather uncomfortable. To find out who and find out what his film was all about, stay tuned after the break.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I'm a lot more confident and a lot more sure of my abilities. At Oswego is where I really found myself and became the person I am.
You work hard and you play hard. I love the environment of SUNY Oswego.
David Richey. I mean, they were shocking recovery of Tommy John survivor Nathan Evaldi.
Welcome back to The Real Deal Senior Thesis Showcase. This next film might be a little disturbing to watch, and you might have a few questions after seeing this sneak preview, but we'll see if we can get some of those questions answered in our final interview of the night. Roll the clip. Joining us here in the WTOP studio is Jake Berkowitz. Jake, thank you for joining us.
So it was a pleasure to talk to fellow film enthusiasts.
So, first question, is that guy okay?
I haven't seen him since. I think he may still be in my basement.
Good Lord.
But he's my housemate. He was very down to do it, you know. I've known him since freshman year. I said, can I put a plastic bag on your face? He said, okay.
So, what's this film called and what's it about?
The film is called The Talker, and that scene really, it has much to do with the film. You know, it sets up the entire concept, but that itself is really symbolic towards what comes next, which is an interview with the filmmaker himself. So it's really about, it's a film about a filmmaker, I'd say, which I don't think we really get to see because everyone's really dazzled by the spectacle of the film. You forget who made it.
Interesting. Have you heard of Hollis Frampton?
I haven't, but that first name is awesome.
Well, he was an experimental filmmaker, and he pretty much made films about films. I don't know if you're familiar with Zorn's Dilemma. That's probably his most famous work. I'm sure, well, maybe you haven't seen it, but it's a film about the alphabet. It goes from A to B to Z to D, and each clip is just a second long, and there's 24 letters that he utilized. He omits 2 letters of the alphabet so that there's 24 frames to symbolize 24 frames per second. So Hollis Frampton's kind of one of those filmmakers who made films about film. So I wasn't sure if he was one of your influences in this project.
He was, but that sounds, you know, like that has the same themes I'm trying to do. Because I think everything now that we see a lot of days, it's a surface level, you know. And I think there's, you know, underneath that is the substance, which I think viewers don't care about anymore because we're not giving to them the proper amount.
Yeah. And I have to ask, because clearly in your film, your director's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Was there a certain director that you were like parodying or lampooning at all?
I wouldn't say, maybe not a singular, but I'd say like there was a few that just had kind of just influences. One, like maybe some people won't think he's crazy, but I think like his processes, and Terrence Malick, who's my favorite filmmaker, and like people have stories about him just going out with the DP, the whole crew is waiting for them, and they just go out 5 in the morning, come back, everyone's waiting on them. They say, we filmed everything for the day. You know, so that stuff, like guerrilla filmmaking is what I call it. When you could go out there, you don't need a big crew, you have the image, and then you make it happen.
Hey, I can respect that approach.
Clearly, your film is about being unconventional and different and not conforming to the mainstream. Oh, so some of that content being quite shocking. What, in your opinion, makes all the difference between a film that has something unconventional but has something to say, as opposed to something unconventional that's just there for shock value? Zack Snyder.
Well, Zack Snyder, like, you know, I have my own disputes with him, but I'd watch Batman vs. Superman over any Marvel movie for the rest of my life. Because he went for the home run. You see, and Marvel never goes for the home run.
What do you mean by going for the home run?
I mean that, at least Batman vs. Superman, you know, people criticized it because, you know, it was too long, they introduced too many new characters, maybe all at once. But Marvel, I'd rather that than how Marvel takes 10 years to set up their entire franchise. To me, that's destroying the industry.
Well, some would say that, like, Marvel's more successful because they earn it by building it up over time.
Yeah. Well, I'd say they're more successful because they're more commercial. Where Zack Snyder is willing to, like, do riskier things and, like, put more emphasis on not having a joke to make everyone feel better at the end. You know, he's willing to do things that make you unsettled. And that's what I try to do as a filmmaker.
That's an interesting approach to filmmaking. So, Jake, where can people watch your film?
It will be on YouTube once it releases in about probably a week or so, maybe before then. You could find it on Sunroof Pictures. Type that into YouTube. You'll see my face. You clicked on that.
Awesome. That sounds like a plan. We will certainly be on the lookout for The Talker. Is this a horror film or?
If anything, it's a satire.
Interesting. Well, thank you for joining us, Jake. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
We have more to talk about on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Real Deal Senior Thesis Showcase.
Hey, President Stanley, what's your favorite television station?
I don't know. Hey, guys, what do you think?
My family and friends are always with me, no matter where I may be. Sharing stories from home helps me sustain my recovery from my mental and substance use disorder.
Hi, sweetheart.
Join the Voices for Recovery. Our families, our stories, our recovery.
For confidential information on mental and substance use disorders, including prevention and treatment referral for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Total, Baldwin faces 32 charges.
Saturday, I went to Woodchuck Saloon.
Too much temperature change.
1310 meteorologist.
2 as well. Visions from Tanner Spink.
Go to 2 and 1.
2 with 6 and 10 on the year.
It's back and better than ever. One student can win up to $25 in cash. All on Oswego's favorite game show, Spin to Win! Every Sunday night at 9, only on WTOP 10 TV.
Everyone here at The Real Deal would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in this semester. This is our season finale, and it's also mine and Connor's very last episode as hosts, which means next year, Nathaniel Ahart will be the main host of The Real Deal next year for season 5.
It doesn't seem like it's been this long. Like, it just seems like I just got on the show, And now it's over. So
I know.
Yep.
I mean, hey, I'll miss you guys. This is truly
we're gonna
the end
miss
of an
you
era.
too. The
Well,
show's in your hands now. Don't burn down the studio.
I won't.
And
I promise you.
Take good care of my baby. So this is it, Connor. I guess we say our goodbyes.
I guess we do, Brandon.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been an incredible 4 seasons here at The Real Deal. So have a good night, all.